Welcome to Lenworth the Lone Star's Country Radio Review. So why did no one tell me that the legendary drag movie star from the 1970s and 80s, Divine, actually did a Western comedy movie? Now, I really want to do a deeper dive into Divine's movies because I thought all she performed in was campy underground drag movies, and of course, the more mainstream Hairspray, but clearly I was wrong. Lust in the Dust is the 1985 Western comedy starring Divine as Rosie Velez, a wandering lady on a journey to find a hidden secret treasure. Now, I'm shocked that this movie only got a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes because I was hollering and laughing the whole time watching this. But maybe I'm just trash for loving this movie. Now, this would be one of several Hollywood films that would define her career before her passing in 1988, but she would eventually play in the original Hairspray film and the posthumously released slasher film Out of the Dark in 1988. But if you ask me, as someone who loves westerns and comedy westerns as well, I think Lust in the Dust is a must-see for both queer country folk as well as anyone who says they are a fan of drag and Divine's legacy. Now, for those slowpokes who don't know, Divine is one of the most iconic drag performers in history, who was likely the most popular drag queen in the world for many years before RuPaul came around. Harris Glenn Milstead was just a young gay man in the 1960s who went to school for hair and cosmetology and began to perform as a popular drag queen, an Elizabeth Taylor impersonator, who eventually would team up with the talented and equally twisted and subversive gay director John Waters. Divine and John Waters would collaborate on numerous subversive queer cult classic films of the 1970s and 80s like Pink Flamingo, Female Trouble, and Polyester. But eventually Divine would reach straight audiences and more mainstream Hollywood productions like Lust in the Dust. Like many Western comedies, Lust in the Dust pokes fun at the Western genre films in general, following common Western tropes in the storyline, but making them subversive with the exaggerated camp of the acting performances. Even in the opening scenes, one of the first scripts across the screen reads that those who lust in the dust will die in the dust. So, though this is a film about a small Western town called Chile Verde that holds a renowned hidden treasure, the theme of sex and sexuality is a constant in this movie. For example, the male lead and hero of this movie name is Abel Wood. In the beginning of the film, Divine's Rosie is wandering through the sweltering southwest desert, and when she encounters wayward strangers, she poses as a young chaste woman who is lost and fearful of men who may ravage her. But in reality, Rosie is constantly looking for men to ravage herself. Rosie stumbles upon a large multiracial crew of cowboys, but then in the next scenes we see that all the cowboys are knocked out and Rosie is still up, trying to find someone else for round two. When everyone's asleep, Rosie asks one cowboy what he knows about the hidden treasure that's said to be somewhere near the town of Chile Verde, and he tells her the little he knows, then goes back down between her thighs. But Rosie accidentally breaks his neck in the throes of passion. Now, this same accident would happen several times in the film when a cowboy she was intimate with gave her clues about the hidden treasure. And that's when it hit me. I always knew that Divine's movies were dark, creepy, and subversive, but then I realized she's usually a straight-up villain in most of her starring roles. Like Divine plays terrible people like it's written in her contract. Eventually, Divine makes it to the town of Chile Verde and becomes a working saloon girl alongside Marguerite, the matron of the brothel and saloon. Before long, Divine realizes there are many people in the town who are looking for the secret buried treasure, including her new boss and rival Margarita. There's lots of nudity, sexual innuendos, and overt sexual overtures. But there's lots of twists and turns which kept me interested in the outcome of the film and to see who would end up with the treasure in the end. Divine's character, Rosie, is awful and only looking out for herself, which is what makes her a hilarious character. Have y'all checked out this raunchy Western comedy, Lust in the Dust? Does it blow your mind that a gay drag queen starred in a Western in the 1980s? Sound off on the film Lust in the Dust in the comments.